Did AI kill SEO for good? How should marketers be using AI right now in their SEO strategy? These are just a few topics that we're going to explore in today's episode of AI Rabbit Holes. And in today's episode, I'm really excited to welcome Annika Helendi. Now, Annika is an AI marketing expert, YouTuber, and B2B SaaS growth strategist. She helps marketers and entrepreneurs navigate the AI hype and focuses on practical use cases that actually save time and make people money. So, Annika, thank you so much for coming on this episode of AI Rabbit Holes.
Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. And this is round two. We actually tried to record this last time and had an error with Riverside. So hopefully we don't run into that again. But Annika actually is a very underrated YouTube channel, in my opinion. I've learned a lot from her. So I'll leave her channel in the video description below so you guys can check it out. So the first thing I want to ask you, Annika, is you teach AI in marketing. Why should a marketer or business owner consume content from Annika versus the other creators covering similar content on the topic of AI and marketing?
Yeah, I think my niche is focusing on practical use cases. So I don't want to go along with all of the hype and offer these 50-step N8N automations that actually don't work.
You
so
just posted a video about that too.
yeah, exactly. So they all seem so cool, like all of these new AI tools, super impressive demos each time. But once I start using them, I quickly realized that for marketing use cases, for everyday work, they fall short. So my focus is on finding ways to use AI and automations and agents, hopefully more, that actually work and move the needle of the business.
Absolutely. And let's talk about SEO first here. As that's your background. You said you've been in SEO for over 15 years now. I come from an SEO background since 2018, so not as long as you. But what was that light bulb moment that made you say, well, I'm done with SEO. I'm going to focus on AI and automations now?
Yeah, once I realized that I've been using Perplexity AI instead of Google for months, I realized that something is definitely shifting, and it was so natural. I didn't even have to think about it. It just naturally felt so much better what I received from Perplexity user experience compared to Google. So at that point, I started getting worried that my consulting work maybe is becoming to an end, so I have to figure something new out. But fortunately, I also got so interested in what AI can do. So I see a lot of opportunities here as well. So that's why I jumped into figuring out AI automations, because I think automating stuff is where you actually get most of the gains and not just using ChatGPT window for a prompt or two.
Absolutely. And you also made an honest and ethical decision as well, because I still see people shilling out 10, 15,000 monthly retainers for traditional SEO services. And I'm in the same boat. Like, I mean, I could do that. I just don't feel ethically, knowing so where SEO is headed, especially top of funnel informational SEO. And I want to talk about that quick. I think top of funnel informational SEO is dead or on its deathbed right now. What is your take on the popular question, Annika? Is SEO dead?
It definitely is. At least how I define SEO, which was all about ranking in top 3 of Google's first page. So since this experience overall is dying or already dead for most people in marketing at least, then we need another approach. Yeah, as you said, top of the funnel informational educational content, totally worthless, because AI just takes the answer that you wrote in your article. It doesn't give you the click at all. So there's no point in creating that type of content anymore. So the answer is to figure out what gets you mentioned on AI searches, and also it seems for now it makes sense to do middle of the funnel, bottom of the funnel, definitely in terms of content, and definitely video content is where everybody should focus.
I was going to say, what about beyond traditional, search engines with Google search or LLMs with ChatGPT? What about YouTube search or
Yeah.
TikTok search or even Instagram search? I think SEO is now search everywhere optimization, no longer search engine optimization. Do you think there's still a lot of opportunity on those other mediums?
Yeah, definitely. I'm always thinking that I'm the early adopter of these big shifts. So I'm using YouTube, TikTok not so much, but YouTube for searching some stuff, like especially if I want to learn something, find a new tool, a new product. So YouTube for sure. And it's so funny because years people were saying that, oh, these new search engines are making a splash, but it wasn't true until I think now. So because the traditional Google search experience is so different now, I think these platforms, Reddit, YouTube, TikTok, these are all rising really rapidly. So we definitely have to focus more on those platforms.
Yeah, absolutely. And obviously, with Google and LLMs pushing toward that zero-click search experience, how should marketers adapt when ranking high, I guess, no longer guarantees clicks, traffic, or revenue?
It's a hard question. I feel like the strategy keeps changing as we see what works. It's a wild, wild west right now. But it seems to be important to be mentioned everywhere. So no more, we don't need to have backlinks anymore. We need to have really high authority mentions everywhere. And it seems we have to figure out a way to have our brand message really consistent across all platforms. So my approach is just to keep my eyes open, experiment, do a lot. Content is still kind of the king, but not in terms of SEO, I think, the traditional way. So we still have to create a lot of content. But I feel like the focus should now be on building trust. And attribution is going to be horrible. It's already pretty bad, but it's going to get even worse. So I think lots of marketers are going to are going to base lots of decisions on their gut feelings. And for in-house marketers, it's going to be such a headache to say this to a CEO or whoever is managing them that we just trust me, bro, like it's going to work, or maybe not.
Yeah, CMO's jobs just got 10 times harder for sure. I refer to attribution as the devil of marketing. It's always been hard to fully attribute things, as you know, but now it's getting even harder.
Yeah.
And I want to talk about this quick. There's a lot of AI SaaS tools and a lot of hype with all these AI writing tools claiming to be a silver bullet for SEO and content marketing. In your opinion, what tools should SEOs and marketers even be focusing on right now?
Yeah, content, like AI is mostly used for content creation, but I see so much lazy AI usage. So I think it depends, like lots of tools could work for you, but it depends on what type of inputs you're giving those tools. And I think you have to be really masterful with prompt creation. And it all boils down to what's the strategy, how good are your inputs, and also how much you are editing and improving your outputs as well that you get from AI. So there still needs to be a lot of effort that goes into content, but if you're smart about it, you can scale the content still while keeping the quality as well. So the tools, text-based tools, I'm building my own using make.com and Airtable. There are lots of other tools that offer that option as well, but you maybe don't have that much control that you can put into it. So what models to use, what prompts to use, that type of stuff. So I'm right now more in the camp of like building your own automations and tools, at least for text-based content.
I completely agree with that, right? And I would say 99% of AI SaaS tools are just white label OpenAI, white label Claude. Of course, they're going to use the mini versions because those are the cheapest models on the API side, but the average user has no idea what any of this is. And of course, those companies and tools are making a lot of money off the profit margin since they're using those cheap models. So just something to keep in mind there if people are listening. I want to shift to AI and automations here, though. So this can be extremely overwhelming, especially for non-technical marketers and content people. Where should marketers start, Annika, when it comes to building AI automations for the first time?
I think it makes most sense to start automating tasks that you're doing almost every day. So if you know that you have to do a LinkedIn post every day, then build an automation around that, like creating that first draft that's trained on whatever your style is, what your topics are, what your company is about, what the CTAs are, stuff like that. And this is the easiest way to get started. Then you know that this will have like this big win really quickly for you. The mistake I see a lot, and I made it myself as well, was trying to automate something that I wasn't really doing before. So, for example, TikTok video scripting or something like that. I had no idea what it takes to do like a good hook or whatever. And I thought that maybe AI automation is going to solve that problem for me, but it doesn't work like that.
I completely agree with you, right? Again, back to the hype thing that we talked about at the very beginning. There's all these hype about faceless AI, video automations and this and that, but it's like let's just stick to the basics here on what tasks we're actually doing that consume a lot of our time and effort, and we should focus on automating those tasks first. So you mentioned your LinkedIn post. Do you have any other real world, I guess, marketing examples where you're leveraging AI automations?
Yeah, I have this big system where I'm usually doing YouTube videos as my like baseline content. Then within that system, I'm transcribing the YouTube video. Then I'm using that transcription to create lots of different LinkedIn posts. Then also LinkedIn carousels. Any type of TikToks I'm also doing manually on my own using lots of AI features of this script. But then repurposing and pushing it to other platforms as well. All of these like small things that take you like a few minutes here and there, these are all automated for me. So I'm saving a lot of time on the things that just take like mindless time that doesn't give any value. So that's my approach for now. And even if I'm using AI for content drafts, I make sure that I'm always editing those and making them sound like a human.
Yeah, absolutely. Repurposing content is honestly one of my top use cases for AI automations. Like I look at long form YouTube as the foundation to a content strategy. I was just in a consultation last week telling a big company about this. I'm like, whether it's YouTube, whether it's podcasting, you need to focus on long form video as your foundation for your content strategy, and then leverage AI via automations, or if you have someone to do it manually, to repurpose all of that with trained data, with knowledge and custom instructions, etc. So I couldn't agree more with that. Excuse me. One of the biggest issues, though, that I see working with people with AI automations is resistance to change. Right, that's a huge thing across bigger companies. How can marketers and just decision owners or decision people get more excited about handing over tasks to AI and bots?
Yeah, this is really tricky. I get this feedback a lot from seasoned marketing managers or CMOs that the automations that I'm doing, I think these are so simple, so basic, but for them it's too technical, too confusing. So they prefer to use the ChatGPT interface, maybe a few like custom GPTs that they have built, but that's it. But I think right now you're already getting left behind. So I don't have a good answer. I don't know how to get them excited. I think we just have to show how we can build companies like solo businesses with AI as big as we can get them, and just like lead by example, I guess, to get people excited. But otherwise, I think in-house marketers specifically, they don't have the time to learn new stuff. So automation, if you haven't done it at all, I guess it seems too technical or too confusing at first, maybe. So yeah, I don't know.
Absolutely. Yeah. So, what are some tasks you think shouldn't be automated in your opinion, right? There's all these like gurus that say, here's my, task of 10 AI agents. I'm sitting on the beach, managing my entire marketing department. But you and I both know that that's not reality
Yeah.
whatsoever. So, what are some tasks that you think shouldn't be automated and could add more of a personal touch?
Well, first, the thing I mentioned, you shouldn't automate anything you don't know how to do manually yourself. So if you don't know
Yes.
what a good output looks like, you shouldn't automate it. The second one is you should automate stuff that you're actually using or doing weekly or monthly. So if this is just a nice to have and maybe you're going to use the automation only twice a year, so I don't think it makes sense, then do it manually maybe first. And strategy. For now, like AI gives, like it gets better all the time, but still strategic advice is so general. So I don't know, cookie cutter I don't know, it doesn't seem that it gives any type of edge. So I think for junior marketers, it might be helpful if you have no idea what to do, but I think more seasoned marketers can see through the advice and see how it's outdated a bit or too general.
I look at anything high ticket sales related, whether that's in person, on the
Yeah.
phone, even through email, especially email copywriting, right? Having that personal touch, adding more emotion. You and I both know as a marketer that converts versus just generic AI stuff that no one wants to read. They know it's Chat GPT, and you lose credibility once someone discovers that you're leveraging AI for high ticket sales work. So that's my 2 cents on it. But I want to talk about AI automation platforms. You mentioned N8N earlier. You mentioned Lindy. Where do you think marketers should focus on when it comes to N8N versus Make versus Zapier versus Lindy, Gumloop, etc.?
I think it depends on what's your technical ability. So I have no technical background whatsoever. So no code tools are meant for me. So you don't want to start learning about how the logic behind N8N works because it's more technical. So the same tools, much simpler tools, do the same things basically. So Lindy AI everything is in simple prompts compared to N8N where you have to build the stuff with the same logic that the technical people know how to use, but non-techies are kind of lost with this. So yeah, you have to know what's doable for you, what's easy. And I think the logic should be that AI makes things easier for us. So it shouldn't be complex. So if those platforms seem too complex for your abilities, find a simpler platform. And most marketing use cases don't need those really complex agents or whatever. So you need simple stuff to be automated. And as you mentioned, yeah, I so agree that you shouldn't automate anything personal. And that's where I think you should automate all of the busy work that doesn't add any other value than just like wasting your time. So you can have more time for those personal connections. That's where
For
your
sure.
time should go.
I completely agree with that. And Zapier's been around for a while, and that's where I
Yeah,
started with this whole thing. I personally
me
use
too.
make.com. That's probably my go-to. I've dabbled in N8N, but you mentioned Lindy. I honestly think Lindy is almost a pioneer in my opinion, because I think that's where we're going with AI automation, simplifying it. N8N has all the buzz and all the hype right now. Don't get me wrong, but we're going to start to see more SaaS tools like Lindy appear, in my opinion. The big problem with Lindy, though, is the pricing, right? They have to get
Yeah.
their pricing figured out to get more users involved versus Make and N8N are very favorable. Do you think we're kind of in that more trend of Lindy AI and tools coming up like that?
Yeah, I do think so. I'm always saying I'm kind of playing around with Lindy because I'm not sure if this is going to be the winner in that space. There are some
Right.
other tools as well. But yeah, I agree. The pricing right now, it seems like you can't really play around with it properly without like burning through all of the credits. But it's definitely so intuitive. Like, I think it should work in a way where I'm saying to the agent, I want you to work like this for me. And also what I love about it, I can kind of say in simple language. For example, I have maybe an agent, let's say for LinkedIn, I don't know, strategy, posting, everything. So if I don't like some outputs, I can tell to the agent in Lindy in simple language, I don't want you to ever do this topic again. And then it saves it to the memory. I don't have to build any logic around it, just in simple
Wow.
language, and it actually does it. So I think this type of simplicity has to be part of it. And I think,
Yeah,
yeah,
I agree.
we don't know
I
what
agree with that.
what the winner is going to be in that space, but for now, like Lindy AI seems pretty cool.
Yeah, I think there's going to be more tools like Lindy that we don't even know exist right now, somewhere in forums and testing and whatnot. But let's stick on this topic of AI agents for a second, because there is so much confusion. There is so much hype around AI agents, in my opinion. Are there any scenarios where you think marketers should consider using an AI agent versus an automation? I guess first kind of explain the differences between those.
Yeah, AI agents are for use cases where you need the agent to make some type of decision. So there's an email coming in, agent needs to figure out what folder it goes into, and based on that, like what the response should be. I don't think most marketing use cases, at least right now, need that type of functionality. We just need to give the automation an input, the context, and we need some type of output with most use cases. So that's why I haven't figured out like really good, cool agent use cases yet, but I'm always trying to build them. So because I think they are so cool. So I would love to have like this master agent where I'm just like chatting with it and it figures out exactly what I need without me even like mentioning everything. So I love the promise of it, and we'll probably get there where some agents are like maybe managing the whole campaign in like Google Ads. I don't know if we're going to use Google Ads anymore, but you get the point where it creates the images, the target groups, I don't know, like everything for us based on what it knows. So I like the promise of it. I haven't seen it really working out right now with the capabilities that it has. So for now, I think most marketers should use AI automations and start with the really basic ones that save time.
I agree with that. I think really good marketers paired with AI automations is really the bee's knees right now, right? AI agents, they appeal to the hype crowd, right?
Yeah.
You and I both know this. You have to know what good looks like. What moves the needle, right? What are the SEO best practices that move the needle? What are the email best practices that actually move the needle and convert? Well, I'm sorry to say this, but ChatGPT models and Claude models, they don't know that. They know what they're just scraping off the internet. They don't actually know in your specific campaigns, Annika, is this going to convert? Or in my campaigns, is that going to convert? So I hate how people are just kind of pushing the agent clickbait and hype right now. I do think, though, at some point we will get there with agents. We're just not there right now.
Yeah, and I think once we get there, there's going to be a big difference between the quality of the agents. So I think it's still going to be about the prompts or the instructions that you get to the agents. So again, we have to know the strategy. We have to know what good looks like in order to build those really good agents as well. But for now, yeah, it's so much simpler to do the automations. The outputs are more figured out, so the agent can't go really crazy and start hallucinating or doing like some really crappy content. So yeah, for now, definitely with automations are the way to go, but I'm keeping my eye on agents, and I'm always trying to figure out like some really cool use case where I can use agents.
Yeah, you got to keep your eye on agents for sure. So looking 6 to 12 months ahead, Annika, what do you think is the number one skill, in your opinion, that marketers or content creators should be focusing on right now to stay ahead in this ever-changing industry?
I think regular marketers, not the ones who are doing YouTube content like us, I see such a big gap in what they think is being innovative with AI. So I think most marketers are still just using ChatGPT interface with simple prompts, and I think they're getting left behind. So I think the basic skill basic skill is creating those automations. And if you don't want to build them step by step in make.com Airtable like I like to do, find simpler tools and do it like, or those AI wrapper tools that you hate, like even start with those and edit outputs as much as you can, or like start automating stuff to save much more time than just like prompting away. I think prompting on its own, it can be really time consuming as well.
Very time consuming. And I would say most people, not just marketers, are still stuck in that early version of Chat GPT interface and not shifting to the automation side. I think we're probably in the top 1% of people, if I had to guess, just based on what I'm seeing and what I hear from people. But let's talk about your YouTube channel again, Annika. What type of content can we expect from you in the near future on YouTube?
Well, I would love to do like these really cool, like multi-agent workflows, and I'll definitely behind the scenes, I'll be working on those. But I think I need to also do more basic content on how to get started. So I want more people to get in on this 1% and actually start using the leverage that AI automations gives you. So I think it's going to be a mix of really basic stuff and really cool like new stuff, but only if it actually works. So I definitely don't want to get on the hype side of YouTube.
I was going to say, so no content about this AI agent is insane or these workflows are insane, right? Nothing like that.
Game changers only.
Yeah, game changers, with the rockets and the skulls and the faces, right? All that fun stuff.
Yeah.
So where can people follow you online besides YouTube, Annika, to learn more about what you're working on?
I'm also pretty active on LinkedIn, so Annika Helendi on LinkedIn as well. I have a TikTok account. I haven't mastered it yet, so be easy on that. But mostly, yeah, YouTube is my main channel.
Absolutely. Well, Annika, this has been fun. And thank you again for coming back on for a second time. Thank you to everyone for listening to this episode of AI Rabbit Holes. Be sure to tune in again next time.
Thank you so much.